All right, back in the saddle with Coach Miles Holcomb here in his office at Southside. Beautiful field house. It used to be the old school, actually. Now it's a field house. So, Coach, last week had to be good for the guys. I mean, all the two-a-days, all the sweat, all the running, all the weight room, all the drills, the long hours, cultivated into a win last week. I believe 38-19 versus Lee out of Huntsville. Had to feel good to get in the win column. I know you're the top guy. You probably wasn't satisfied with all the keys of the win, but to see the W in that column, talk to us about last Friday and how huge it was for the program.
Yeah, I think, obviously it's a lot easier to correct some stuff after a win, for sure. The thing that I think we harped on the most, we did some uncharacteristic stuff kind of later in the game, and we told them, from week 0 against Guntersville to Hoax Bluff the next week that the outcomes of the games isn't we weren't worried about the outcomes yet. We're trying to figure out how to do what we do on a daily basis. And so to be able to get a win, if we sweep the issues under the rug just because we got a win, then the kids can see through that. And so we told them then it's not about the outcomes right now. We're still trying to figure out how we're going to run the program and what these guys are going to leave and everything like that. And so there were a few things obviously that we didn't like. We got it corrected. I don't think any of our guys come in here at any point in time. They don't ever come in here and they're like, man, I can't wait to mess up today. I don't think any of them do that.
That's awesome.
And so that's what we tell them. We don't go out there and we're not trying to scheme stuff up. On either side of the ball, we can't wait to bust right here. And I don't think anybody thinks that. And so they kind of look at us sometimes when we coach them, and I'm like, you didn't come here to mess up on purpose, I don't think. And so when you do something wrong, let's correct it. It's not personal. Let's just correct it.
Let's get it done.
The good part is man, you got to get on some kids and you love them to death, man. And it sucks to get on them. I told one of them, we came in on Sunday and we were talking, and I was like, what the other night was like? And he's like, no, sir. I was like, man, sometimes, you just want to, as a dad, you want to go home and you've had a good day at work or whatever, and you go home, all you want to do is just play. You want to get out in the yard, you want to play with your kids, and you come home and you find out, hey, man, they've been, they got in trouble at school, or, they did something now you got to be mad. Because
part of it.
You got to correct the mistake. And I was like, I wanted to be able to celebrate with us. I wanted us to, but there was things that we had to fix, and that's not just the players. There were things we had to fix as a staff. There's no question. We had to do a better job this week of making sure we were prepared. I don't think we did a great job last week. I don't think we had done a great job for the first 3 weeks, to be honest with you. And there was some stuff I think that in a win everybody saw this gonna get us. And our goal to start the year was find a way to have an 11th game. So the win helped us. That's the main goal. That's the goal. The win helped us. I think we learned a ton from Guntersville. I think we learned a ton from Hoax Bluff, especially offensively. When you look at the fact that we had the ball on the 1 2 different times and got nothing out of them.
Wow.
We had the ball inside the 10 2 other times and got nothing out of those 2. You got 4 possessions where it's inside the 10-yard line and you don't get anything out of it in a 28-7 game. And so some of that is youth. Some of that is we didn't prepare the guys well enough. I think it's a little bit of a combination. And so I think seeing the things that we need to fix in a win allowed us to be able to come in here with the right mindset this week, knowing the type of opponent we play this week, another big region game on the road, very similar to how it was at Guntersville. To hopefully, I think our guys have done a great job of being able to internalize what we had to do, go out here, make sure we were focused every day, and put together, up to this point, our best week of practice.
Yeah, well, that's huge right there. You hit on something a second ago. I want to rewind the clock and gear it down in there. I was fortunate enough to interview Chris Yeager one time, and I asked him a question about how do you self-evaluate? Not only yourself, but self-evaluate with your staff. And you hit on that a minute ago. And dude, to have Chris Yeager look over there at me and say, "Bo, I've never been asked. That's actually an intriguing question. I'm going to ask you the same thing. How do you do that? How do you? Because sometimes you're like me, bro. To me, the hardest person to correct is myself.
Yeah.
Because I think, why I wouldn't have done that, if I thought it was wrong in the first place.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
talk about that a little bit.
I mean, I think I'm probably even in a win, and I think some of it comes from growing up with, the way my dad is. Like, I mean, he was always going to find the stuff that needed to get fixed.
Something.
And so, and my mom's always like, I told when we had Mom's Morning, we may get beat 4 touchdowns. When we come off the field, my mom's like, y'all just played so good,
She's going to find something good.
She finds all the good, and Daddy will be like, man, y'all sucked. Y'all sucked. And he'll be like, well, what are you doing on that one call? Didn't make, you should have ran him more. You should have threw this. Or, I think so. That's always like trying to make sure that we are doing things the right way. Anytime there's confusion with the kids.
Oh yeah.
And when the way I self-evaluate is, kids make a bad play, and then you can go back through the week, because when we film everything at practice, so you go back through the week and you're like, all right, how many times did we give them that scenario? How many times did we talk about that scenario? So they didn't know, so it ain't their fault. Like, they made this play, it ain't their fault if they made that play and we didn't talk about it enough. Or, we missed this block on the goal line. Well, did we give them that look on the goal line? And if we didn't give them that look the first time, did we give them that look the second time? Did we talk about it in the walkthrough? Like, are we giving them the answers to the test before we get the question? And so the answer is not always yes, and so I think, and that's I mean, we miss stuff just like anybody else does in the week of preparation, and so we have kind of a checklist that we try to go through each week, but it's high school kids that sometimes too, like, they got other things they got to do. Like, we got kids we got a test tomorrow. Like, they had kids that had a test today, and so we talk about it. But if you don't hit on it with high school kids, like, if you don't hit it 3 or 4 times that week, they may or may not remember, just like we may or may not remember as a staff. Like, right. And so if it's not, on the script, if it's not something that we're talking about in the meetings, if it's not something that, like, we're harping on and we got to make sure we get corrected, then when it pops up, like, we can't be the emotional ones. Like, we got to bring them over. Hey, look, this is why we need to do this, or this is why we don't need to do this, right? And then you just kind of make a mental note, like, we have got to make sure we go over this next week, And we try to do a good job, like, pulling scenarios from the weeks. Like, especially now, it's a little bit easier now. Last week, the Chiefs probably put together one of the best fast field goals right before the half against the Chargers that you could imagine. I mean, and we talk about 2-minute, we talk about fast field goal, we work fast field goal. You make sure you run the ball to the umpire, don't toss it to him. Like, you go hand him the ball and get off the field if you're not on field goal team. Well, the Chiefs did it, and so being able to pull clips of NFL guys that are putting, they're making all kinds of money, but then, like, the smallest details matter to them. Like, they're coming off the sideline, they're handing the ball to the official, the special teams coordinator's got everybody here, he's the one signaling when to go, nobody goes out early. I think when our guys can see that it matters to those guys, like the guys they look up to, the guys they want to be, like the scenario they want to be in, then it makes it matter a little bit more. Yeah. And we were in a situation last week where right before the half, we have a penalty. We throw a touchdown, there's a penalty on us, they're about to back us up, and we're trying to run guys on because there's 2.7 seconds left in the half. Well, the way the rule is, like, like, as soon as they spot the ball, that thing's rolling. And so, like, my holder, he's down, and he's clapping his hands, and he's trying to get the ball. And luckily for us, like, there was a timeout called. And so I don't know, they're still standing over the ball, wouldn't let us snap it. And me and, we talked about it, but luckily for us, they call a timeout. We end up, Cooper makes the field goal right before the half. But, like, that was something that I'm not sure our whole team was on the same page. Like, we had some guys that knew, like, hey, we got to get this ball snapped. It's a penalty. Like, the clock's about to run as soon as they blow it in. But I can't say everybody did. Yeah. And that's one of them things. It's like in the heat of the moment. Like, the more you do it, the more you talk about it, the more you rep it, it gets easier. But at the same time, like, you got to be reminding guys as they come on the field of the same situation. Just like we're on punt return, we're on defense. We make a great play. It's 3rd and 1. Cole Johnson gets in the backfield, 7-yard loss. It's 3rd and 8. All right, it goes from 3rd and 8. We're trying to run punt out there, punt return. Well, somebody don't hear a name. Somebody's not calling the name out. We're not telling them to call the name out, and we end up with 12 men on the field. So it goes from 4th and 8 to 4th and 3. So then now our guys are a little bit gun shy. We stay out there. We stay in punt safe. They fake one and they pick it up, and they eventually score on that same drive. And it's one of those things like, well, how many are we repping this stuff? Like, are we giving them these opportunities to make sure that when they're going out, like, they know exactly who they're calling for? Do they know, like, when we're in punt safe, like when we're alerting punt safe, is punt team in the box over here? Do we got random people in the box? It's on the sideline, the guys just trying to walk up and down. I mean, all those things are stuff that we really harped on this week, because that's going to get us beat. Those things are going to get us beat in the game if we ain't careful.
Very easily can. There ain't no doubt about it. No, I'm with you on that now, Coach. That's stuff, the little things add up. People don't realize that, but they do. This next week's opponent, speaking about this week's opponent, this is a team y'all are super familiar with. Y'all have had some wars with these guys. Last year was another war with these guys, and we're talking about Coach Elmore and Fort Payne.
Absolutely.
They've graduated a few guys here and there, but they've got a ton more back. They're a very formidable opponent. Coach, what have you seen from Fort Payne?
Well, I mean, just the same things that, like, I think their program, again, very similar to Guntersville. I mean, Coach Elmore does a great job. He's got a great staff. Like, they are going to be well coached. I told our guys on Sunday when they came in, like, I'm just telling you, you turn the tape on. Like, if you don't match their level of intensity, like, in their level of effort, consistently play in and play out, they may run us out of there. Like, I think that was a challenge to our guys, like, just to understand, like, they may or may not have the same guys. I mean, I know when you graduate a quarterback as good as the Varnador kid was, like, well, I mean, they got another one. He's pretty good too. Yeah. They got 2 backs that are pretty good. They got a defensive end that's pretty good. They got some linebackers that are pretty good. Like, they got guys. It ain't like they ain't got them.
They got them.
And their guys up front on both sides of the ball. Like, I feel like we're kind of built the same way. Like, their team and our team's kind of built the same way. Like, they always pride themselves on being physical. They always pride themselves on playing with maximum effort through the echo of the whistle. Like, they pride themselves on being well coached and being where they're supposed to be and communicating the right way with each other. And so it's a fun opportunity, I think, for us to be able to go and compete against somebody like that and figure out, like, where are we right now? Like, we're in, week 4, but, like, where are we as a program? Where are we as a football team? Like, what are the things, for us, luckily for us, like, we have a bye next week. And so when you play an opponent like this and having the other games, the previous 3 to be able to pull from going into the open week with, the rest of the season left to figure out, like, are we going to be a playoff team or are we not, that we can correct from stuff like from this week and regardless of the outcome. But Coach is going to do an awesome job. Always does. They'll have a great plan. You could tell they're a little bit different offensively. But again, like, when you lose a kid like they did with the Varnador kid last year, like, you may or may not throw it around as much.
Yeah.
But they're going to be physical. They're going to get in the eye. They're going to do what they do. They're going to get downhill. Like, those kids pride themselves on, hey, we'll be tougher than you. And I think our kids do the same thing.
The X factor when you play them, they're kicker you. I don't think anybody's questioning that.
Like that's what we're talking.
That's another thing. I mean, it's like they've always. I don't even know who's there now. I hadn't seen them play this year, but I guarantee they got a good kicker.
Well, we're working kickoff return, and I'm like, hey, look, like, I'm just saying he's probably gonna kick it to the back of the end zone. Like, we're gonna take our drop just like normal, but he's probably gonna kick it to the back of the end zone, and then we're going punt return. Yeah. I'm like, hey, you better mark this thing off 45 yards.
Yeah.
I was like, you better.
And I don't even know the kid's name, but I guarantee you somebody back there is unbelievable.
Oh, he's. Is he? Yeah, he's incredible.
See what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know who coaches their special teams or what they got in the water up there.
I'm telling you, they always have a great kicker.
15 years of the best kicking in the state of Alabama.
I don't know if you remember in 21 when they ccame over here in 21, and the ball's about and we always talk about, hey, when are we gonna go punt return? When are we gonna go punt safe? Well, if it's close to the midfield, if it's close to the plus side, and it's 4th and 5 or less, like, hey, we may go punt safe here. Like, this is a spot to fake it, and we're talking about it today. And I'm like, we may not go punt safe, guys. I was like, if y'all remember in 21, they're on the 50 and they kick a field goal. Like,
think about that, man.
You know, and that's
how dangerous that is.
I mean, it's another thing. Like you have an opportunity like that. Like all you got, it's if it crosses the goal line, you're okay. You know, but like there's a lot of people like you on the 50, like you got to put your punt team out there. It's got to be the long snapper. You got to have a good operation. Like it's it can be a game changer.
It puts pressure on your defense too, man. They start getting around the 50, we're about to give up points.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, especially if we're not doing the same thing, kicking in the end zone. They got to pick up 40 yards and in field goal range.
Yeah. Four first downs and they're kicking a field goal.
That's right.
That puts pressure on your overall team. Well, Coach, this one, I know you got guys coming in and you don't want to chat with me all day, but I always like to kick it back to the coach to close these down. Could be anything program related.
Well, I think that they're gonna have a ton of people there. Obviously, again, it'll be very similar to the Gunnersville Week. Like their atmosphere is always great. Like their environment's great. They got a lot of school pride. And I think our people are gonna show up like they always do, just like normal. And so I think it'll be a fun experience. I think it'll be a great atmosphere Friday night over there in Fort Payne. And so we're excited for the opportunity.
Coach, I appreciate you sitting in with us again, and I want to thank Mr. Gray, as always, at Alpha Insurance for helping us out and sponsoring this show. And thank you so much, Coach.
Yes, sir.